Hey, this is Thunder. Let's talk about America being a third world country and its crumbling infrastructure. I'm gonna make this a real eye opener because a lot of people don't know, but a lot of people do know too. Now I've done videos in the past about how the European man came in here and ruined everything since they overthrew the indigenous people of this land, which is really called Turtle Island. But let's talk about their America. Let's talk about what they consider such a wonderful, wonderful thing. Guess what, people? America is a crumbling third world country now. And just because there's construction going on all kinds of different places around different cities, new buildings and things like this, like take for instance in San Diego, there's like 13 cranes operating regularly, quickly, building new buildings. But you take a bicycle down the street and you'll find all kinds of potholes and trenches that are been covered up with halfway covered up, not leveled, not with asphalt, not leveled off with the street. Just crumbling crap, old buildings. Now you wonder how this might have happened. Well, I can tell you how it happened. Like, okay, so 600 years it took for the white man or the European man or the whoever has this plan of manifest destiny to come in and build, lay down rail lines, lay down cities, lay down sewer projects, lay down bridges, lay down all these things, build. But did they ever stop to think that they needed to shore up all these buildings and all this stuff that's been done through this 600 years of building, and they continue building, but the infrastructure is hell. Now, just to give you an example, okay, I did some research to find out what the international ratings are for the different things, like let's say bridges and let's say buildings and let's say sewers and let's say rail lines and let's say highways. All these different things. Let's say there's 16 things. Okay, let's say. Let me tell you the truth about these 16 things. All the things I just mentioned, and that is they got a D rating. D, okay, D, deficient, horrible, going to potholes. I mean, all these different categories, and a few I know about personally because I'm interested in, like rail lines. They all got a D rating, and the highest rating that anything got was a B minus, which is bad, and C, which is deficient. Okay, not good. Okay, so there's only one thing that got a B minus rating that barely made it to good. Okay, and guess what that is? Waste management. Waste management, people. So what does that tell you? It tells you that there's the highest rating is waste management, because there's so much waste, people. There's so much. We're a society of waste. Okay. Now compare this with the pristine land of the indigenous people of this land. Okay. And for you people that think America is so great, that America is so goody-goody, here's another thing I want to throw at you. I'm just speaking off the top of my head here. I've done some research because it was like I'm scratching my head going, why are they building all these buildings? Like for instance in San Diego, they're building hotels. They got 11 giant cranes operating. They're putting all this shit up. And I'm going, why are they doing this? Where are they getting the money? What is this all about? Why? Well, I pulled up a couple articles, and the general consensus seems to be, oh, there's a renaissance going on after the big fall of 2008 and the big collapse, and all this. There's a renaissance in building going on through all America, and this is all a big lie, people. It's all a big friggin' lie. These people that are putting up these construction projects are the same central bankers that are bleeding everybody dry, and they're going to build buildings regardless of whether anybody inhabits them or not. Now, the article also went on to say that, oh yeah, all the millenniums, okay, I guess that's what they call the latest generation, millenniums. Horrific that they would even call them that, but I guess that's what they are. All the millenniums want to live downtown. They want to live in the urban areas. They want to go to college, and they want to live. They'd like that downtown lifestyle. And so what are all these people doing? Instead of the American dream being what it used to be, where you lived out in the suburbs and had a nice house and it was quiet, okay, and there wasn't as much noise. Lights changing. I don't know what's going on here. Outside, I guess. Anyway, to continue on, it's that's out now. The suburban is gone and the urban is in. And so what did they do? Brainwash all these young people to think that living in the city is where it's at, and the bars and the nightlife and the hoo. And you can see that right here where I'm at temporarily now. I see it every night. People hitting the bars, people carousing around, people not caring about how much noise. I don't know how they sleep at night, really. And so they put people in these they want to put people in these big, tall, high-rise buildings, all closed in like gerbils in a fishbowl or a glass case or something. And these people love it. These new, supposedly. Now, I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I really buy that everybody loves that, but the trend is to gearing people to put them all in big cities. Get all the people out of the suburbs, out of nature, out of what's really happening, what's really beautiful, the spirit that moves in all things, communing with nature, and get them all crammed together like chickens in a big chicken coop in a city, okay? Now, why would they want that? Well, why do you think? When the shit hits the fan, guess where all these people are going to be? In the middle of a big friggin' city, and they're going to be easily controlled and easily penned in, and they're going to be able to easily cordon off areas. And first, they'll probably watch all these people go at each other's throats trying to figure out how they're going to survive when the financial collapse comes. Okay, and they're probably counting on this. Yeah, they'll do away with each other, and then we'll just clean up the mess. Okay. Now, there's a lot of people that think, oh, America's so great. It's the top of the line. It's the numero uno country and all this shit. Let me tell you, even the military spending, even the technology. Let's take the F-35 fighter versus the Su-35 Russian fighter. No contest. I'm a pilot. It's no contest. The F-35 is a turkey in the sky as opposed to the Su-35, which is a lightning hawk, fly circles around anything America has. Our military technology is not on top of it. In fact, they got a policy: bring your own device, man, for half the people in the military, except the top echelon, like the Navy SEALs. They're well equipped, and Delta Force, but as far as the rest of the crew down beneath that, bring your own device, BYOD, bring your own technology. I'm covering a lot of ground here, but I want people to know that America is a third world country, and it's like putting lipstick on a pig, okay? It's a pig no matter how you look at it. And do I care? I mean, not really. It's it's just desserts for what they did to the natives. But I just think people are living in a dream world. They're wondering why they're doing all these operations like Jade Helm and planning all this stuff. Well, put two and two together. Put two and two together. I mean, the fact is that America is broke. Okay, and the reason it's broke is because all these central bankers, in fact, if you really want to look at it, most of the world's broke. But all these central bankers have manipulated and stolen and lined their pockets with so much money, like the buildings going up. Okay, that's lining their pockets with money. Okay, because people have to borrow money. Okay, with interest, with large interest rates, to build these suckers. Or they're building them and they're just going to write off the losses, or they don't care about tomorrow. Okay, they don't care about, because if they did, wouldn't the infrastructure be good? Wouldn't the infrastructure be top notch and to support all these new buildings? So it's just like the gold rush days. It's like when people went out to mine gold, and to, the 49ers, and when they went to California and they did this and they dug up all the land and they did this and they did that, they left a refuse pile. They left carnage. They left, there was murders, there was a raping of the land, there was, gold was the god, and it was maniacal, and they just pursued it. And that's the same thing that's happening today. It's the same thing that's happening today, this maniacal pursuit of build, and then just leaving, what they've already built to crumble before our very eyes, okay? Now, I said that, I knew about some certain things. Okay, let's take rail, for example. I mean, if you take a train, a passenger train in any other country, like say France or Germany or any of these, they have state-of-the-art border-to-border fast, beautiful trains. Okay. Now, if you take a train here, Amtrak, it's kind of like a junk express. It's kind of like things are falling apart. They're putting together the cars with baling wire and glue, and but you go to Europe and you go to France and you go to some of these other countries, and people that come here from these other countries scratch their head and they go, wow, I thought America was supposed to be top notch, and man, our rail system is much better. It's fast, it's cheap, it's beautiful. It's come over here and it's like riding, on a train in India, okay? And I know this because I travel a lot by train. I've taken many, many, many trips and talked to people from other countries while they're traveling. That's just one area, and rail, I think, got a B or a C, and other countries have A. Again, people, if this is a third world country and it's crumbling, when America's out there like flexing its muscles and saying all this stuff about how they're going to whip this country in line and how they're going to do this and how they're going to attack Russia and how they have it over China and this, and you can better be sure that's all a bunch of friggin' lies, okay? Because how does a third-rate, third-world country compare like with countries that are not third world, are huge, have have a booming economy, have booming trade, I'm not going to mention any names here because people will go, oh man, you're biased or whatever. Well, you want to do some research, you do some research, okay? You do some research on, just type in, in Google or whatever, America's infrastructure, How is America's infrastructure compared to other infrastructures in the world? And boom, it'll come up. Now you'll see the few articles in there that are obviously, you know, propaganda. There's always that, you know, there's that. But if you dig deeper, you'll find out that these international rating companies have rated America like zilch. Like I said, D. Remember in high school, A, B, C, D, E, F, failure. We're at D, people, basically. Overall, if you if you figure it out, you know, if you figure it all out as like what the average is for everything, all our infrastructure, it's D, D minus. And we know, okay, anybody that does research knows that the central bankers and the Federal Reserve and all this stuff, they're ripping everybody off, and they're criminals, and they've been caught time and time again ripping people off and stealing and slush funds and money laundering and supporting even terrorist groups. And what do? Get a slap on the wrist. Okay. Now, if you're a millennium out there, what they call a millennium, or a young person, I'm talking to you as an indigenous person and as a person that's just interested in what's happening, okay, and interested in informing other people. And I'm telling you, you better wake up and pull your heads out of your asses, okay, and quit being herded into cities and quit buying into this, I'll call it Blade Runner type dream, okay? And if you ever seen the movie Blade Runner, it's an old movie with Harrison Ford, but it's a good one. There's this horrific shot in there of what America's cities and what cities are going to look like. Just crammed together, all this ghetto-looking, flashing neon light, all kinds of different languages, Vietnamese, Chinese, everything crammed together. That's how it is now. Now, if you put two and two together, like I said before, you see that where this is going is a dead end. It's a dead end. And my last video was on Hopi prophecy. And basically, I'm doing this video to shore up that video, which you should watch, about how things are based on materialism, okay? And the Hopi said that, you know, the material world would succumb and be destroyed instead of people living next to nature. And this is so freaking far away from nature. Living in urban areas, no parks, the only place that you go to relieve your anxiety or whatever is to a nightclub at night with the bottles of liquor, okay? And the front of these places look real nice, real glitzy, man. You go around to the alley in these places, and it's a dung heap. Bottles of liquor, you know, piled up in dumpsters, and dirty alleys and scummy sewers, and you go into the front and it's an upholstered sewer, okay? So all these people are being tricked into like, oh man, urban living is so cool, city living, man, it's where it's at, dude. What a sad state of affairs. What a sad friggin' state of affairs. You people are being herded into a huge prison, okay? It's like, you know, it's almost like the gas camps in Nazi Germany. You're being herded into something that is going to end up to be horrific for you. You're going to have no place to run, no place to hide. You're going to be fenced in. And these operations like Jade Helm that are going to all these different cities, what do you think they're preparing for? What do you think they're preparing for? Don't you know? People, it's time to wake up and change the course, the tide, before it's too late. Now, if you don't believe this video, if you don't believe what I'm saying about the infrastructure in the third world, then I feel really, really sad for you. Because I don't care where you go downtown and all this nice building and all this stuff. You go 2 blocks off of downtown and you're in a ghetto. You just walk through downtown and you'll see homeless people lying in every little doorway of these big modern buildings when they close at night. You'll see homeless people scattered along the different doorways, laying on the sidewalk, dirty, filthy, trying to make little shelters for themselves. And I'm talking about old people, young people, in between people, all kinds of people. Now, that is a good indication of the facade, the Wizard of Oz facade, that is being represented to you by these big, glorious buildings and all this construction work. I mean, I'm talking people are lemmings. They're lemmings. They are going to follow each other over the cliff. So it's time for people to get a clue. Listen to what Thunder is saying. Pass this video around. Don't go in this direction. I'm warning people. Do not go in this direction. It's not good. Okay, it's sure death. It's the dead end. Okay. The American dream no longer exists about the little house, out in the suburbs, or maybe even out in the country, because there won't be that anymore. One of the articles said that 70% of the world's population, 70% is going to be living in urban areas, or is already. 70%. Downtown dwellers. What about all this land out there that is available, that they could be developing for natural settings? Why, again, why are they cramming everybody into the cities? For control. For control. And if you don't see that, you are a dumb shit. Period. End of story. And I don't know why I waste my breath on you, but I will sit here and talk about this because I feel like, well, maybe somebody will put 2 and 2 together, or put 2 brain cells together, and not just be a dumb shit that is like, yeah, man, let's live in the city and we'll go to the nightclubs at night. And what happens with you? I just can't go on with this anymore. I have to end it here. But I'm telling you, America is a third world country right now, and there's no way that it's going to recover, because there's no jobs here. The only jobs are construction and healthcare and waste management, and prison systems. And nothing is produced here, and America's quickly reaching the end of the rope, okay, the end of the line, to use a railroad terminology. The end of the line is fastly approaching, and all this stuff is going to just be like a house of cards, and it's just going to collapse, and there's going to be utter havoc. Now, will I see it in my lifetime? Well, the way things are going, it looks like I might. It looks like I might. But if I don't, at some point you'll see it, if you're younger than me, or if you're one of the millenniums, or if you're even in between the millenniums and where I'm at, or even, middle-aged. When this system collapses, just by judging what they have done with the infrastructure, just by that alone, how that's been neglected, and they say it would take trillions of dollars to get these bridges up to code and get I mean, you know, 1 out of 9 bridges is ready to collapse. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So people wake up, look around you. Don't buy into their game, because if you do, it's a dead end. It's your history, and it's already a nightmare. And I'm just trying to save people from experiencing a nightmare, but it already is. It's already a nightmare. It's just they're so dumbed down they don't see it. You know, all they see is let's go to the bars, let's have fun, let's do this, but when they get older, okay, when they get to retirement age, if they make it that far, which I don't think they are, then they're going to realize that they bought into a horrific nightmare, okay? And think about how many people don't know what it's like to go to sleep at night without hearing a siren, without hearing construction, without hearing somebody whoop it up outside, without hearing a car alarm go off, without, you know, I could go on and on and on. How many people have ever went to bed at night and listened to a cricket chirp and the wind blow through the trees? I'll leave you with that. I'm out of here. This is Thunder.